So customers come to us with multiple challenges, whether that's because their environment they feel is too complex. Maybe they don't really understand what their environment looks like. Maybe it's too big for them to use sort of manual methods to get a good understanding of maybe the interdependencies between different business applications. Or just the communication flows with the environment. So a very varied amount of information is needed to be collected and analysed depending on the type of application. So maybe a more modern 3-tier web type application, you have an easy understanding of how that works. But when you sort of drill into it with a bit more detail, there's a lot of information that you need to sort of capture and sort of analyse before making decisions on whether it be appropriate to migrate to the cloud, whether that would be the type of software being used, whether you want to use more change that application to use sort of cloud specific components, or just sort of migrate it as is into the cloud environment, or maybe keep it on premise or split it into a mixture of the two. So keep maybe some of the important data repository items in your own data center environment, and move some of the more consumable items or items that you maybe want to expand and contract based on demand, move those components into cloud services instead. We find with more legacy applications that understanding the dependencies around those is much more important. Normally organizations will have built a business application up over a number of years, and that application may have some legacy components in it, and the knowledge of how that application is built and works can be lost over time. As employees maybe leave the business, the documentation becomes out of date and people put fixes and hacks in to keep things working. So understanding the dependencies and integrations between that application, kind of how it works in detail, and the actual state picture, not the managed state picture, not what you think it looks like, because that's never going to be 100% accurate. But what it actually looks like, it's very important to capture that information at the very start of a migration project. And that really mitigates and manages the risk associated with the cloud migration.